It's been a bit difficult lately running a business with the clients. I've been doing my own daily discipline, putting it out on social media, going to events and stuff like that. So, how to tolerate anxiety, and clue is in the title. You learn to tolerate anxiety by practicing daily discipline. And if you've been following me for a while now, especially on Instagram and YouTube, you would see that every day I post up my own journey with daily discipline, to motivate and inspire and help other people raise awareness, to build confidence, overcome anxieties, manage anxieties, build discipline, live a more positive life. All those things and much more, things like gratitude as well. And that's why I love the daily routine, because anyone can do it. It's simple. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's simple in what you've got to do, and it can be explained and understood pretty quickly. And I think people understand it straight away in the title: a daily routine, daily discipline. So you practice your disciplines daily, and through that process, you get more confident, you get stronger, your mental health gets better. Ultimately, you get happier. That's not like the main premise of why I teach the daily routine and why you're doing it. Of course, happiness is nice. We all want it to a certain degree, but it's more about learning to tolerate all different states of emotions and how people feel, because no one's happy all the time. We already know that. That's impossible. It's a process. Happiness can come and go, but things like discipline, you can practice discipline anytime, regardless of whether you're happy or not. That's actually the definition of my definition of discipline, is being able to act and behave and complete a task regardless of how you feel, especially if you don't feel happy. So discipline is not going by emotions and thoughts and feelings. Discipline is more about a vow that you make. So for example, if you make a vow that you're going to eat healthy and you're going to exercise regularly, you can't go by emotions on that, because if you go by emotions, then you're going to eat junk food all the time. If you go by your emotions, then you're going to train one day and then you're not going to train for another week. It's going to be too inconsistent, therefore you're not going to get results. And it's the same with anxiety, with overcoming pretty much all anxiety disorders. You can't go by your emotions, because if you go by your emotions, then you won't get out of the bed. It kind of defeats the whole premise of overcoming fear and anxiety, because what comes with fear and anxiety is low mood, intrusive thoughts, negative emotions. That's why it's a challenging obstacle, and it's an ongoing challenge, which is why we got to practice it daily. So yes, to some degree, you can overcome a lot of fears and anxieties. And if you know my story, that's what I've done over the course of a couple of years, and then that's gone on to 20 years, and I've mentored and helped people for 12 years. But you're not going to completely get rid of fear and anxiety as long as you're alive and we're human. So you can learn the tools to be able to cope with it for life, for as long as we have our time down here. So that I wanted to explain the reasons as to why it's in your best interest to have a daily routine. Making sure if can get questions here. Hopefully I can see the questions. If you've got any, let me know. So I've said it before, and it's pretty amazing, because pretty much most questions that will come up, pretty much 99.9% of your questions and people's questions all around the world will be answered with a daily routine. So people might say to me, well, how do I build more confidence? If you don't have much confidence in yourself right now and you'd like to have more confidence, with people, with life in general, within yourself, with doing new things, my answer to that question would be, well, there's a couple of answers, but within that, it would be to have a daily routine, because we live daily lives when you think about it, right? We can only do one day at a time. No one can do more than one day at a time. So it's good to set goals in the future and say, next year I want to be financially free, or by next year I want to lose a certain amount of weight, or by next year I want to overcome my social anxiety, or by next year I want to break an addiction. And that great, I'm all about that as well. I set long-term goals for my clients and for myself, but that's in the future. It's not 100% certain, and we do one day at a time. So it's about breaking those long-term goals down daily, and you'd be surprised how much you can get done daily if you have a daily routine. And if you set about tasks to do throughout the day, there's a lot you can get done. A lot of time gets wasted with people with overthinking, with worrying, with listening to their intrusive thoughts or anxieties or fears, or just sitting around and wasting time. Whereas if you had someone, let's say you had a mentor like me with you, let's just say, for an analogy, like in a movie, let's just say that I was with you for a whole day, 24 hours a day, and my job, I was assigned to you. My job was to get you to do the things that you're afraid to do, but the things that you want to do. Example, well, the first thing is I'd get you up early, and you wouldn't like me for that. But anyway, that would be the first requirement. I'd get you up early. I'd get up early with you, because I'd be with you, right? I'd be staying with you. So I'd get you up early. I'll get you to take a cold shower, and then brush your teeth and get clean clothes on. And so that would be the first step that I'd get all of you to do. And I do that every morning, by the way, right? To give you an example. Now, the next step is I'd get you to go for a run. I'd go on the run with you. Or it'd be, I'll take you to the gym. It would be a choice between the two, right? So it'd be getting up early, a cold shower, we'd have a coffee in the morning, we'd practice gratitude, we'd be thankful, and then be right. And then we'd get our gym clothes on, and then we'd go for a run in the park for 45 minutes, an hour, maybe a bit longer, around an hour. So that would be like 2 or 3 tasks completed already. And those tasks, let's say we'd get up the latest at 9 a.m. in the morning, right? Maybe a bit early, let's say 9. So from 9 till 11, there will be some tasks completed. But what most people will do is they'll waste the whole day, and they won't get anything done. Or maybe they'll get one thing done. They waste too much time when they could act more fast and effectively and quicker. So we'd get that done. After the run, it would be a case of showering up again, clean clothes on, having a little rest, and maybe having a snack, eating some healthy food, banana, protein bar, maybe another coffee, a bit of salad, some prawns, veg, something like that. We'd have a little bit of food. Then after we had food, I'd get you to do some public speaking. We'd go out to an event, a meet-up group, and then you would go and we'd join a group of like-minded people that want to build confidence, or like they do groups for different things, for addiction or OCD, or groups on business, all sorts of social groups that are around today, which are great. So I'd come with you to the group, and I would get you to also speak in front of the group so you can build up your public speaking skills. Can you get an idea of how this works? Just some analogies, right? So after that would be great. There'd be a lot accomplished. So you would have gotten up early, you would have worked out, you would have ate healthy, and you would have gone to a social meet-up for a couple of hours with me and other people and done some public speaking. I would have done some as well with you, right? Everyone. So that's already a great day accomplished. Can you imagine living like that every day? How much you'd get done, how much you grow as a person in every area of your life. Now, after the public talk, I may get you to do some other things as well, just to show you how much you can get done in a day. I'll get you to work on your business. If you've got a business, I'll get you to create content. I'll get you to make a YouTube video, or to sell a program, or to do a live stream, something in business, or to work on your accounting, your taxes. And these are all things that I do for my clients at different stages. Some of the things that we've named today, they're all confidence building. Public speaking, simple, one of the best confidence builders out there. Exercising, amazing for building confidence, one of the best confidence builders out there, second to none. Eating healthy, another great confidence builder. Now, with building confidence, what else comes? What else are you building? You're building discipline. All of it is discipline. It takes discipline to build confidence. You've got to get out of bed when you don't feel like it. So we're not going by whether you feel like it or not. Contradictory to the whole belief of all of us people wanting to find happiness. But happiness will find you when you don't try and find happiness. But happiness isn't the goal here, because happiness is fleeting. Happiness is mostly emotional. Not saying that you don't want to be happy, but it's more about, sometimes I can't find the right, we're going to use the word gratitude and discipline. things like gratitude, discipline, and faith, and service to other people. These are a separate box with happiness, but you get a lot of happiness and satisfaction and joy as a consequence of moving forward and learning to tolerate anxiety and discomfort and distress. Because if it was a case where these things weren't difficult and everyone was happy all the time, then we wouldn't even be talking about this to begin with. We wouldn't have any challenges, but we all do. We all have challenges, myself included. All of us struggle in this life. All of us do. It doesn't matter what we've got, how much money we've got, what we've achieved, how confident we are. I can tell you every person struggles, but it's how we learn to deal with that struggle and our perception and perspective. So struggle's not bad, but we've labeled it bad in our culture. Many people have, because we've been misled, or we've been taught things that they're not very intelligent. They don't work in the long run. So it's learning to change your perspective. Obviously, we don't struggle all the time. Just like it's not generally, it depends on where you're living, but it's not sunny all the time, especially in England. It's sunny, it rains, different seasons. So we have different seasons in our life. We have seasons where we are happy and we are a lot more relaxed and less anxious. Then we have seasons where we're very unhappy, we're very down, challenges happen that are outside of our control. So this is why you need to learn these tools to get through life and enjoy life more, and also learn to enjoy life when you're not enjoying it, which I heard someone saying that yesterday. They were totally right, that you don't, it's not black and white thinking. So it's not like someone can't experience happiness or joy when they're going through depression or anxiety, when they're going through grief or heartbreak or financial loss. You can. I've done it loads of times. So it's learning to live under all different sorts of conditions, especially with your own conditions in your own body, in your own mind, in your own emotions. So this is daily discipline. And of course, you become a stronger person. You become you become more humble, a lot more compassionate towards others through this process of practicing discipline, working on a better attitude, good timekeeping, all these values and virtues and discipline and task and mindsets and behavioral habits that you learn. All of this is behavioral. It's not intellectual. None of this is intellectual, because intellectualization doesn't work in this area. It's not required. Maybe a little bit is, because you can sort of think, today I'm going to do that and that, but it's your behavior. It's taking action. You don't need to be intellectual to do public speaking. You actually need to be the opposite. To be great at public speaking, and anyone can be great at public speaking, you actually need to get rid of overthinking. You need to get rid of logic, intellectualization, and you need to learn to be present, to let go of all those gripping onto your mind, and be yourself and talk. And it's so simple, and it's so beautiful once you do it. Everyone's done it at some point in their life. Everyone has got into a space where they're just speaking and they're relaxed and they're joyful, or acceptant of their emotions. And you find that more of a connection. And you get these things through daily discipline. They come with all the different areas I've mentioned today: running or exercising, socializing, waking up early. They're not going to come all the time. Again, it's not going to be 100% perfect all the time. You're not always going to feel like it, but that's not the point. You're going to feel good about the fact that you made yourself do things when you didn't feel like it. And if anything, you're going to learn a really valuable skill that I'm still learning, and that's the fact that people can tolerate a lot more distress than they believe they can. People are a lot stronger. Everyone is. I've seen it. I've been mentoring people for 12 years. I've experienced it working with people, and I've seen it just from following people that I've never met before, seeing their journey. I've seen it with friends, family members. I've seen it with my mum. I've seen it with my dad. I've seen it with a lot of you, and I've experienced it myself. So if anything, it's learning the value that you can handle being uncomfortable for longer periods of time. And I speak a lot about when I used to box as an amateur, and I was frightened of getting in the ring, and everyone is until they get more tolerant and more used to it. And I was surprised that, surprised initially how scared I was and how uncomfortable I was, but I was surprised later on how much better I got, how much more stronger I got, accepting of the fear and the uncertainty and the high levels of anxiety that I learned to live with and box under those conditions. Can one of you comment? I don't know if the comments are showing up here, because again, YouTube, they keep changing the settings, which is a bit annoying. Because if you are commenting and I'm not reading it, it's not great. Okay, thank you, Jay. So the goal in anxiety recovery, building confidence, changing your life, building discipline. I'm sure you guys and girls get what I'm saying. Changing. The goal initially is not happiness. It isn't happiness. That's not gonna. It's gonna work against you. But it's not saying the goal is to be miserable. Of course not. But the goal is to build strength. And building strength and discipline is separate to, in my knowledge, from what I'm explaining in this paradigm, it's a separate matter to building happiness. And I'll explain again and we'll get some more questions, right? So initially, of course, especially when we were younger growing up, all I ever wanted to be was happy. Because we experience happiness, don't we, growing up? Even if we've had a difficult childhood. And most of us on this platform would have done, but generally I had a lot of happy moments in my childhood, and you love that feeling. And as an adult, but you know from experience, if you're going to be honest with yourself, it doesn't last. It can come and go. You can be happy in one moment, and someone can upset you, or you can think about something in the past, and immediately your happiness is stolen from you by your mind, by your anxiety, and then you can get angry, you can get resentful, you can get down, or you can be happy and then you have a breakup in a relationship, or you have a financial loss, or something don't work out, or for some reason you see something on the news or someone says something that triggers you, and all of a sudden you've gone from feeling happy to extremely down and upset and miserable. So it's so fleeting, it's so inconsistent and unreliable. So at some point you get to a point, and people also, what a lot of people do, we've all done it, people wait for happiness to come before they start taking action on their life, on their discipline. So people will say things like, well, I'm not happy in my job and I want to leave my job, I want to start my own business, but I'm not going to do it right now. They come with the excuse and they say, I'm going to wait and do it in 6 months, I'm going to wait until I feel better, and all those things. And that's often, you're deceiving yourself, because you're not going to get any happier by waiting if you're in a job that you don't enjoy. And if there is an exit route now and you've got the business idea, it's not about happiness at this moment, it's about discipline, it's about courage, it's about getting uncomfortable and taking the necessary steps and actions that you need to change your job and start your business. If you rely on happiness, you're not going to get it done, because the happiness is so inconsistent, and it can be stolen of you from any minute. And even things like sometimes when we're happy, when you're happy and things are going well, and I know it's a blessing, someone else ain't happy, someone in your family might be down, and it upsets you, of course, you care about them, or a friend might be going for a bad time, or your partner might be going for a bad time, your wife or your husband, and then that affects you. I've had that, where I'm happy, things are going well, and then I feel awful because other people are suffering around me, and then you feel guilty, then you feel bad, and things like that, and then you're starting to feel unhappy again. So it's such a trap, especially, and the whole premise of overcoming anxiety and getting stronger is not to try and get more happier. It's not going to work. I've tried it. Everyone's tried it, and they've all failed. The goal is to get stronger, and being stronger means being able to move forward and live and find gratitude irrespective of how you're feeling, and not need happiness to live. Not heard of that song, no. Have you heard of the song Interstate Love song? No, I haven't heard of it. Is it any good? So I just wanted to explain that, because I know that can be confusing for people, and I understand. Like, if someone hears this, they could think, well, what's Jonathan trying to say? Is he saying that happiness isn't good and people should be miserable? And it's like, I'm absolutely not saying that. I'm absolutely not saying that, but I'm, giving you the truth in this area, and that is that, especially with building confidence and getting over anxiety or living with anxiety, even people that don't have an anxiety problem, chasing happiness won't work. And a lot of people now, which I'm really grateful for, are talking about this online. Even people that have sort of had their own realization where they've had to come clean and be honest and say that they're not happy all the time. But people are starting to now say things, well, many of us are saying things like, I look for gratitude every day. And to be grateful in life and to have gratitude, you don't need to be happy. And even people that are happy realize how, fleeting or futile happiness can be, because it just comes and goes. And it's a bit like online. If someone likes your post, it makes you feel happy for a short amount of time, a very short amount of time. I experienced it throughout my journey, which maybe I'll talk about at some point in another video. When I first started out on YouTube, the platform was new, and I didn't think anyone would particularly like me or like the videos or things that I said. And when I started to get a lot of likes on the videos and comments from people, it made me feel really good, really happy and stuff. But it was so short-lived. And even then I would say, oh, I need to get more likes, and then I got viral videos, and it didn't matter how many numbers and viral videos that the numbers and all that sort of stuff, it just come down. And I realized that it's not real, it's not sustainable. Happiness and love is within yourself, and the things that are important to you, family, things like that are more long lasting. So it's more artificial. It's good to understand that. Doesn't mean that you can't get involved in it and you can't be happy for a second. If someone likes your video, you can, but you don't take it so serious, because you know that it's not going to last, and it's not going to give you what you're looking for long term. Oh, really? Was it? Oh, thanks for letting me know. It was a band from the grunge era, Stone. Yeah, that wasn't really my scene, to be honest. Appreciate everyone's got different taste in music, but I didn't really go through that phase. I was talking to my good friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about we love music and the different scenes, because we're both 40 years of age, and we were talking about what we like, what we don't like. So I didn't really cross the era, but I appreciate that you like it. It's the main thing. So yeah, all these things, and I think people know that. Like, if I said, just a little bit of fun, if I said to some of you, you're going to go and run a marathon, but you're only going to run the marathon if you're happy the whole time. I mean, can you imagine that? I'm sure people might be laughing, maybe not, right? Because my sense of humor's dried up a little bit lately, but it comes out every now and then. Like we know deep down, when we see someone run a marathon, we really respect them generally, right? Because we know how difficult, even if we ain't done it, we know that's difficult. Now, are they gonna be happy when they're doing the marathon? Absolutely not. Now, that doesn't mean during that, is it 26 miles? There might be some points in that time where they do get little moments of happiness, but they're not going to be happy throughout the whole run. And that's kind of what people are believing and trying to chase in life, which is just not true. But that's not the point, is it? The point is that they have the guts and the stamina and the discipline and the courage and the heart to complete the marathon and to live with distress, challenge, pain, suffering. And that's the same thing I'm talking about with life. That's a lot more valuable. So it's not a happy goal. It's not a happy competition. Well, my advice for Freedom 20 is you really got to work on yourself. If you want to improve your relationships with people, with women, you've really got to work on yourself. That is the main Again, it's going to take a little bit of time probably for you to understand that. But chasing other people, but with not working on yourself is never going to work. And I will do a video at some point about that, right? But that goes in with daily discipline. So daily discipline will help both men and women to improve their relationships with one another and people in general, 100%. So that's one of the big mistakes that people make. I've made it, we've all done, where they're chasing relationships in order to find love and happiness, but not working on themselves. So you really got to develop yourself more as a person and not need someone. If you need someone too much, you're never going to be happy. You're not going to, not even happy. You're not going to be, you're not going to have the discipline that we're talking about today, which spreads out everywhere. I'm really struggling with anxiety and the strong feeling I can hide it, but not alone always. Well, my advice to you is to stop hiding it. The hiding it is causing you more of a struggle and anxiety. So you're trying to control it and suppress it and hide it. That's making it worse. You really want to start to reveal it. And you've already started doing that by commenting on this live stream, because everyone's got fear and anxiety, but not everyone has built the strength to what's the right word? Not everyone has got to a point where they can live with it and move with it and not let it dominate them and be okay with it, be fine with it. That's when you have power over it. But when you allow it to shame you and blackmail you and feel that you have to hide it, you don't have to hide it. Everyone has anxiety. I have anxiety. It's normal. But it's learning to, obviously, if you've got massive amounts, then that's abnormal. Not saying that anyone's not normal, they are. And that's when obviously you've got to get some discipline and bring it down to a healthier level. But anxiety per se is normal. It comes with being human. But the goal is not to necessarily get rid of anxiety. The goal is to be able to tolerate it and live with it and continue to live your life. So like I was saying, with a marathon, no one would go and do a marathon with the goal in mind to be happy on the marathon. You wouldn't. But why don't people apply the same analogy, the same principle when it comes to how they live their life? Because a lot of people have got it wrong. Their perspective is definitely, or if we said the perspective not necessarily wrong, it's a perspective that doesn't work for most people. Same with dieting. When you go from eating an unhealthy diet to a healthy diet, the goal is not happiness. You can't rely on happiness. It wouldn't work in that area because the whole challenge of the addiction is eating from your emotions. So if I'm sitting down now and I feel unhappy, then it's like, well, I need to get a hamburger, I need to get some chocolate, I need some sugar, because that's gonna take my pain away and stress and give me some good feeling. Then you're in the trap. Or for example, so it's not about happiness, it's about discipline and connection and gratitude. And the happiness, bits of joy will come, feeling better definitely, but I wouldn't equate that as happiness again. So I'm saying it a lot today because I know that's a trap people fall for, especially people with anxiety disorders. But you'll get something better than happiness, and that is gratitude. That is more resilience, mentally and emotionally, spiritually stronger. You'll get something way better than that, but it's going to take some time to build it, and you do that on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, discipline is really a different tool. Obviously, for people that are really about building happiness, then this live stream wouldn't be the right one right now. That would be, you look elsewhere for that particular thing. So it's a better skill to have. It's better to have the skill to be able to live life and get the most out of life and appreciate life regardless of whether you're happy or not, than it is to only be able to perform when you're happy. That's going to be so inconsistent, like I said. If you're committing to helping other people, if you say that, well, I'm only going to, imagine saying that I'm only going to be kind to people, I'm only going to be nice to and friendly with people when I'm happy. Well, that ain't going to work, is it? because again, happiness is going to be too inconsistent. So you might be happy, you might be friendly and kind to people 1 month of the year, or let's say 6 months. The other 6 months you're going to be mean, because you're putting too much meaning and emphasis and value and strength into happy emotions, as opposed to strength of character, which is, still being kind to other people when you're down or depressed, and that's going to give you something a lot more valuable. Yeah, it definitely does heal things. Definitely, Henna. Discipline comes with consistency, and consistency with time. Of course, it heals things 100%. There's no question of a doubt. It definitely heals things. So, like I said, happiness is not going to work with most things. It won't work with eating a healthy diet, losing weight. It won't work with running a marathon. It certainly, I would say, maybe it's a little bit more different when it comes to building relationships with people, because that's something that you do need good emotions to get more out of that. But even that, you can't always rely on that. Any of you know that if you meet someone and you fall in love, it's lovely at the start, the honeymoon period, where you're getting on well, you're agreeing on most things, and you're not having any arguments. But as the relationship goes on, it's going to start to change at some point. We're all human. Issues are going to come out. Anger's going to surface, resentment, at times jealousy. Normal human emotions are going to come up. Disagreements, fear, doubt, stress. Those things are going to surface, and what you're going to do then, you can't just fix those problems with happiness alone, because those things are going to create unhappiness. They're going to create pain. And that's where you need things like what we're talking about today: discipline, maturity, strength, willingness to control, to communicate. And all these things are not attributed, they're not done by a happiness. The way that you deal with fluctuations on emotions and feelings is by practicing what I'm talking about today, by practicing discipline. So I'll give you an example for that very simply. So, let's say today that all of you say tomorrow you're going to go to the gym, right? You're feeling pretty good right now. Let's say, for example, you're feeling pretty good right now, and you say, right, tomorrow I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm also going to do some work on my business or work, right? 2 tasks that you've given yourself, right? But when you wake up tomorrow morning, you wake up feeling really, really terrible, really, really down and lonely or depressed. Now, you've got 2 options there. You can put off the gym, and you can put off your work assignments that you've made an agreement to do, or you can force yourself to do it and do it anyway. And that would be the answer to your question, Henna. That would be how you deal with fluctuations on emotions and feelings. It's a behavioral practice, and it's a behavioral practice that requires inner strength. I can explain it it's courage for sure, it's spiritual strength. I just give different names, it's the same thing really. So it's a behavioral practice, these things, like I said. And those things, I keep repeating this is my OCD, those are not happy attributes or practices. It's a bit like, again, if if you, let's say that your grandma, your grandma, your granddad said that they want you to clean their apartment tomorrow, right? Because things like that were important to me growing up. My nan was extremely kind. Most of our grandmas do a lot for us, right? They give us money, they give us food, love, they help us out. So we want to help them as well and give something back. So we say, okay, tomorrow, Nan, I'm gonna clean your apartment. I'm gonna water your plants. I'm gonna take out the trash. I'm gonna do those things, right? So we make a promise to do that. We give our vow to our person we love, but then we wake up in the morning and we're not happy. We're not in a good mood. What are we going to do then? We're going to say, well, I can't do it. Well, you said you were going to do it. You gave a promise. Well, I'm not happy today. I don't feel good right now. Can you see how tragic that would be to live your whole life like that? And people do that. We've all done that. So the discipline would be you have to find the strength to do it anyway and tough it out for that 30 or an hour or 2 hours. That's really where you build the real good stuff, the tough stuff. And that's something that, you know, we don't really have a choice in life at some point. Otherwise, you'll just be more of a sinking ship if you don't do those things. And of course, you don't have to do that all the time, but sometimes you've got to do that. So you don't go by your emotions, and you get stronger when you do that. And anyway, when you finish cleaning, you probably will experience some happiness anyway. You definitely will. So the irony is, when you're not aiming to chase happiness, but you're aiming to work on discipline and gratitude and confidence and humility and all these things, as a result, later on, happiness will come and find you. And that's usually, I said this to a client, that's usually when we meet the right relationship, because we're not chasing it, we're not trying to get it, we're not forcing things, we're not, we're not being irresponsible and expecting someone else to fix us and do things for us when they can't do that. No one can fix us in that way, they can't. But if we work on our discipline, our attitude, and loving ourselves and treating other people how we want to be treated, that's when these things start to happen more. And and that's why I really appreciate, that's why all of you are resonating with what I'm saying, because you know it's true. You know it's true, not because I'm saying it's true, because you know it's true in your own heart. You know from your own life experiences. You've experienced this in your life already, what we're talking about today. You've experienced happiness, you've experienced unhappiness, and you've experienced the disappointments and the tragedy of life when you are not disciplined, when you're putting these things off. And I say that with compassion, because it's not easy. It's not easy to do these things. Not easy for me, not easy for anyone, which is why it needs to be done to be appreciated. But yeah, we're not saying that we shouldn't aim to be happy in our life. Of course we should, but we should aim understanding how it works and where the flaws are and other things that we need to learn. There's other tools in life. Being happy is not the only thing in life. There's being grateful. Most people don't even talk about that when they're starting out on their journey in life. It doesn't even come up until a little bit later on, where people suffer more. And usually they have happiness too. They experience good times. How much time would you give yourself to build a new habit or a good discipline? That's a good question. I give myself all the time in the world, to be honest, and my clients. I would just do it one day at a time. I wouldn't limit it too much with time to begin with, because that can be a trap too, because people can start to use time as a way out. So I'd be careful with the way that we're using time. And fear and anxiety can often do that. Sometimes your mind will trick you. You'll use something that's positive. So people will say, right, I want to start making time in my life for friends, family, or for the gym, or for building a new habit. And although that's a good statement, sometimes people mislead themselves and they use that as an excuse to get out of it. And they say, right, I can't find the time right now, and that's an excuse. So you can always find time, because you've got 24 hours a day. So just to give you some time frame, I would say, if I had to give you a time frame, I had to do it, I would say between 1 to 2 hours a day. And that's kind of one of the reasons why it's not always the case, but when I do mentoring session with clients, it's usually 2 hours. Sometimes it's more, it can be 4 hours, it depends on the program. It can be an hour, but generally 2 hours, because you can get a lot of discipline done in 2 hours. So I would say at least an hour or two. Imagine if you exercise for 1 hour every day. Imagine how fit anyone would be and how much more discipline there'd be. That's just 1 hour a day. You've got 24 hours each day. I know some of that time's sleeping. So it's not always about how much time you're putting in, but it's about the consistency. Because someone could have it in their mind that, I've got to practice discipline for 8 hours a day, otherwise I'm not being tough. It's not, and that can be a bit extreme. It's like, it depends on the situation. But looking at things long term, are you going to keep it up though? Because someone could do Someone could practice discipline for 8 hours today, but then they give up in a month's time. Whereas one of my clients can be doing it for, one of my clients, James or Phil, has been doing discipline every single day now for over a year. They've both been doing my 2-year program, and every single day they practice discipline for a couple of hours, and that's why obviously they would have built up a lot of confidence and resilience by now. So it's also how consistent you are over a long period of time. It's not always about how many hours you do, although that is important as well. So it's just getting an understanding to simplify things and get things correct. So yeah, you don't have to do loads and loads of hours each day. That's why I gave that analogy earlier on. If I was with someone, I would get them to probably do all their tasks within 2 to 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours, you could get most things done. And if you wanted to do longer, then you can go with the flow. If you felt like you got up in the morning and you got into a good flow and you did 3 hours already and it felt right to keep going, and it then keep going, a bit like the marathon. Building up for a marathon, most people are not going to do it straight away. They're not going to have the stamina to do it. You won't be fit enough. You won't be strong enough. So you'd start off by doing half an hour each day, and then you build up. You go from half an hour, then maybe after a month you could do 45 minutes, and then an hour, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then you could do the marathon. Oh, it's pretty easy to differentiate from love and lust. They're two entirely different things. I think lust again is more of a, it's not as it's fleeting, it's quick, it's more of an addiction, where love is a lot more truthful, a lot stronger. It's comes from a different place. Love comes from again, love is a big word, but if we're talking about romantic and relationships in this area, love feels right, where lust might feel good in short moments, but it leaves you feeling awful later on. So lust isn't a good one. It's not a great virtue. It doesn't last the test of time where love is. So very different. Love is better. I can't drink my coffee now. There was a fly in my coffee, and the fly is caffeinated. It's all right. So I post up every day my journey to help other people, to inspire them, on Instagram and on YouTube. And this is what I do in the program for clients, especially if they do a longer term program. I get them to have a daily routine, and the daily routine really is tailored towards your life. So your routine is not going to be the same as mine, because obviously different lives, different goals, personality, but the principles are the same. I'm from London, from England. So just to simplify this talk, if you want to face or overcome any anxiety or fear, you don't go by whether you feel happy or not, because you won't do it. And you're not going to feel happy in those moments. You're going to feel anxious. You're going to feel stressed. You're going to feel frightened. You're going to feel a little bit alone, and that's all normal. And that's to be overcome, conquered. And when you conquer it, you're going to feel fantastic after. You're going to feel all those emotions. You're going to feel satisfied. You're going to feel proud of yourself. You're going to feel grateful. And then you're going to go back to feeling more neutral again, and you're going to continue. So you are going to feel great when you accomplish difficult tasks that are scary and that have an element of stress and fear related to them. And that pretty much starts from when you get up in the morning. Now, of course, some fears are not as scary as others, but that's not the point here. The point is the ability to act and do the behavioral therapy regardless of how you feel. And that's how you get stronger over time. And that's how you achieve goals, you achieve discipline, you break habits, you build new ones, and you become a better person in every area. It makes you better with people, relationships, with life, every area. because you're with yourself, we're with ourselves, and you're building character. So you don't aim to build happiness when you're building character. But like I said, happiness will come in moments, and when it comes, you can appreciate it, but you cannot be misled by it. You cannot be bound by happiness, and you cannot be a slave to happiness, because for as long as you're a slave to happiness, you're going to be unhappy. You're not going to be grateful, because you're just going to be playing the game of likes online, and the likes are going to make you feel good for a couple of minutes, and then you're going to crash down again. Same with eating sugar. You're going to feel good for a couple of minutes, you're going to crash down again. You're going to be up, down. Whereas if you practice the discipline, you're going to be more solid, more stable. You're welcome, man. If you enjoyed the chat, Henna, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you having you on. So I like to say sometimes that not even for people to think about it. Obviously, you're going to think about what we've discussed today, what we've gone over in this mentoring session, but to process it actually, processing it is even better. If you overthink about it, it won't really help you to understand this. You understand this through experience. How to control your anger. Through all the things that I've said today, it's the same thing again, especially with anger. I'd say if I can give you an immediate practice for anger is hit a punch bag, boxing. If you're angry, really angry, go and hit the punch bag. It will be impossible. It will be impossible for you to feel angry if you work out on a heavy bag for 45 minutes or an hour. You will get all that anger out in the right way without taking out on people. That's one way of doing it, is to do boxing. The second way is to get therapy or talk to someone about it that you can trust in a safe space, and get the anger out in an appropriate way, like how we're doing it now. Second option. Third option is go for a run. If you're angry and you go and do a long run, you'll be exhausted. You will exercise out your demons. You'll get all that anger out, and you'll reconnect and you'll be calmer again. So a lot of anger management is calming down your anxiety, because with anxiety comes anger, and with anger comes anxiety. So it's how do you get yourself to calm down again, and also being aware, like you are, being aware that you're angry, what's made you angry, why it's made you angry, but having the discipline to not keep feeding the anger, because that's what people do. I'm angry, this person made me angry, this is what they've done, how dare they do that, why did they do that, why did I allow them to, and you just keep getting in the trap, feeding it, and it gets stronger. So it's learning how to starve the anger. That's another explanation. All these ways work, but obviously you've got to practice them. And I'm not saying that this is going to be easy straight away. You might feel like it's still difficult, but the exercise, I think, is one of the quickest ways. Love is also a good way. I know that's not always available, but a real genuine friend or a family member, if you connect, naturally, someone that you love, you go out, you take your mind off of it. And I'd say sometimes people got to stop talking about what makes them angry, because if you talk about the things that are making you angry for too long, you just get more angry. You put your focus on it, you give your attention to it, you shut your whole life down, you close down all the good in your life, and you put all of your energy into anger, and then you start to ruminate on anger and you get more triggered. So it's understanding that a lot of people make themselves angry by giving too much attention to their anger and not sorting it out. But to heal anger, it's going to take some time, but short amounts of anger can be overcome daily with daily discipline. And what I was going to say earlier on, all of you will learn more. You'll learn the most through experience. The learning that you're going to learn from me or someone else, a teacher, is going to be very limited in what you will learn if you put this into practice through your own experiences. Because I can tell you for hours and hours how valuable it is running, how beneficial running is to all areas of life, especially with good mental health, with confidence, with discipline, with, with resilience, with mental strength, with humility. I could tell you that all day long. But until you actually start running yourself and experience it, you're not really going to make the changes that you deserve. I could do the same for public speaking. I could tell you for hours that the benefits of public speaking, how it will give you so much confidence and so much appreciation for yourself and other people in your life. But if you don't go and do public speaking, your learning is going to be very limited and you're not going to get the results that you deserve. So don't make the mistake of just getting addicted to listening to these talks or other people online. You've got to put these things into practice. And as I said, it's a behavioral therapy. All these things are behavioral. They're not, you don't think your way out of these problems, and you don't think your way into solving these problems, because the thinking is what creates problems in the first place, most of these, if not all of them. It's the action. So like I said, just create a daily routine, start off slowly, just do one thing at a time. You can plan the change by talking to a mentor like myself, doing a session, or sitting down and getting a pen and writing down what your goals are, what it is you want to change, and then create that daily routine. Be very careful about not getting stuck on too much planning though, because again, it can be another way out. So some planning is good, of course, like write down, you know, make a plan of getting up earlier, of exercising more, of eating a bit healthier, socializing more, and then you can get a timetable, like I said. But I wouldn't be too obsessive over having to do things at an exact time, because what if you wake up late one day? You still got to do your discipline. So the main thing is getting things done. I would probably give yourself some freedom, Henna, about not having to do it perfect at the start. So as long as you go for a run, you do something every day that's difficult, something that takes discipline, and build some strength and tolerance up. And then over time, you can straighten out. You can adjust things over time anyway. You can get a timetable and more of a plan. But I wouldn't waste too much time on planning, because again, it can be another way out of facing the fears. Probably for this practice, it'll be better for most people to not plan anything. I know that sounds contradictory, but I believe I'm correct at this moment in time. Would be the practice of not planning too much, not trying to control everything, facing that fear, that uncertainty, just saying, right, today, whatever time it is, I'm going to go to the gym. Today, I'm going to get up early. Today, I'm going to eat a healthy meal. Today, I'm going to go and do some public speaking. Today, I'm going to spend time with friends and family. I'm going to do that assignment. Just get things done, and and you'll feel better. You're going to grow more. You're going to grow stronger. You can adjust the routine as you go. You can fix it. You can add whatever you want to it. Every single day you can do that. There's a lot of freedom with it. If you want to book a mentoring session, send me an email. I didn't put my email address underneath this video, but it will be underneath all my other videos. If you send me an email there, you'll find it. I'll add it later on, or you'll see it on my videos. Then I can give you the details on how to schedule a mentoring session. Maybe we can do that on a mentoring call. If I can help you and book a session with you, I can go over a schedule, a timetable. But as I said to all of you, I wouldn't get too obsessed with that, because that can be a way where people don't get things done, because they start trying to be too perfect. So for the practice of exercising, don't spend too much time for everyone sitting down and planning. Now's the time. Even right today, after this live stream, you can go and work out today. I'm going to go and work out today after this. So it's good to use time in your favor, and having a bit of a schedule, but don't get lost in that, because that, as I said, that's a lot of times with clients, that can be a way out of doing things. But I will do more videos separate and explain that, because sometimes people use the right things, and they use the right things as a way of escaping from doing the right thing. So people will say things like, well, meditation's important, and it can be, or eating healthy is important, or planning is important, or scheduling. It's like those things can be important, yeah, but from what place are you using those things? If you're using meditation to escape socializing with people, then you're not using it in the right way. If you've got a problem with talking to people and anxiety around that, then you have to do that to fix that problem. But if you're using meditation or using cold showers, which I had one this morning, they're great. If you're using positive things to hide behind in order to not face things that you should be facing, then you're misleading yourself. So things like time management are important, but if people are being a perfectionist, then you're going to get so obsessed with having to do things on time that you might not get anything done in a day, where someone who doesn't care about that as much might get so much done, and they're making massive progress. You're welcome. But of course, by all means, getting the right balance, it is good if you can get into a routine of getting up at a similar time, going to bed at a similar time, working out. You don't have to be that rigid, because if you do occasionally, and it'll happen, no one's perfect, it's going to happen. If you wake up late or if you eat unhealthy, you've got to keep going. You've got to, a relapse equals a greater comeback. You can't just say, oh, well, I didn't get up on time today, so let's quit the whole day. That's not a good attitude. If I wake up late, I'm still going to go and do my run. I'm going to enjoy it even more. I'm still going to go and do other things because it's got more time in the day. It would be sort of an immature attitude to have and say, well, I woke up today. I didn't wake up at 8 a.m. It's 9 a.m. so I've got to cancel the whole day today. That would be absurd to live like that. You'd be misleading yourself. Whereas you could say, okay, I'm disappointed. I got up an hour late today and it set me back, but we're going to make up for it. We're still going to go for a run. You're not in a prison, but you can make yourself in a prison by making yourself so restricted and so obsessed with these ideas and practices that you end up making those things work against you rather than for you. And it's a bit like someone saying, well, I just ate a donut today. I broke my diet, so that's it. I'm going to quit on my diet. There's no point me drinking water today. There's no point having some vegetables because I ate a donut. It's like, that's not a good attitude. There's more of a point. Okay, you're disappointed because you had the donut or the chocolate. It's life, move on. Now eat a healthier meal, get back on track. So really be careful about not misleading yourself in these different areas where fears and excuses and a lack of discipline can show up at any given time. When I've said before, no one's perfect and we can't even be perfect, but it's about being consistent. So be consistent. If you've been inconsistent for a long time, we'll celebrate it. Great, let's get on the consistency path now. The most disciplined people in the world have once been the most undisciplined. The most confident people in the world have at some point have been the most insecure. I can vouch for that 100%. So this is understanding how to change. The most sensitive, weakest, mentally and emotionally people with putting in a lot of work can become very strong. So you can learn, you can improve, you can change, you can overcome. You can do that on a day-to-day basis. And obviously, if you practice something every day, then you're going to see big changes every month, every 6 months, every year, and so forth. Right, I think that'll be it for today, 60 minutes. I'm going to actually go for a run, speaking of discipline. I really appreciated all of you coming on. It was I was going to say it was a gratitude live stream. That's my new word now. But yeah, I'll continue these things. This is a daily thing. And I wish all of you, I wish you well. I know that all of you will get this. You can't really fail at this. You just got to, as long as you physically keep going and keep trying, you're going to get there and make a lot of progress. So hopefully, I think we all understood the main understanding of today of separating chasing happiness and building discipline, tolerance, and gratitude and consistency and all the things that we covered today that can be applicable for any area of life: relationships, health, diet, career, public speaking, helping people, appreciating life more, getting through challenges, and even more than that. All right. So I'll speak to all of you soon. I'm gonna try and do another live stream later on if I can. If I don't, then that's fine, because I did it today. Because I'm doing my own daily tasks. So yeah, thank you for the support. I'll speak to all of you soon. Good luck.